I train pretty regularly, I get enough carbs and protein, but I'll admit I should be eating more vegetables. I eat them whenever I can, but it's always a bit of an afterthought. I found out about a supplement called Moringa that could fill that gap, but can taking a simple supplement every morning actually do enough? So I tested these Moringa capsules for 2 weeks, and here's what I found out. So full disclosure, Rosabella sent me these capsules to test out. Now I have been curious about trying Moringa for a while, so this will be my honest take after 2 weeks of actually trying it. So let me tell you about the problem. Now I do take a multivitamin every day, this one, but I've got concerns about the quality of what's in most multivitamins, and I'll get to that in a second. But first, let me be honest about how I eat. Now, I try to eat vegetables whenever I can, usually kale or leafy greens, because pound for pound, they pack the biggest punch. If I'm not gonna eat vegetables every day, I at least want to choose the ones with the most nutrients when I do. You could call that lazy thinking, but that's just my logic. I have actually tried the popular greens powder before. You probably know the one I'm talking about. It's advertised everywhere. I bought a jar, used it in my smoothies for about 4 weeks, and I hated the taste of it. I'll be honest, I didn't actually notice anything different, and I never bought it again after that. So I know that I've got a vegetable gap, I've got multivitamin quality concerns, and green powders just aren't for me. That's why I wanted to test something like Moringa. So I was wondering, could these Moringa capsules be a good solution to that? So let me talk a little bit about why Moringa. After the greens powder experience, I had a bad view of green powders in general, but I looked into what makes Moringa different, and I was actually quite surprised. The first thing I'll say is that none of these supplements are like a pre-workout or an explosive punch. This is something that's going to cover you nutritionally at a base level, something you take daily, keeping everything running smoothly. But here's where I think Moringa is very interesting. There's a quality difference from a multivitamin tablet. Most multivitamins use synthetic forms, like this one. It says it has magnesium in it, but it doesn't specify what type of magnesium. And I actually did look into this. It contains magnesium oxide, which, without getting too technical, magnesium oxide is pretty useless. But you look at the packet and you see magnesium and you think that you're getting a good form of magnesium. So people are walking around thinking that they're getting quality nutrients when they're not getting anything that effective. But Moringa is different. It's dried leaves from the actual Moringa plant. So effectively, you're not getting lab-made synthetic vitamins, you're getting nutrients from a whole food source. And the nutrient density is what really stands out. A serving on this jar suggests 2 capsules a day. That's 800 milligrams, which doesn't sound like a lot by weight, but because Moringa is so nutritionally concentrated, it can deliver similar or even greater amounts of key nutrients compared to a serving of leafy greens like kale or spinach that I normally go for. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck, if that makes sense. So I decided to try them out for 2 weeks to see what I noticed. So let's do a quick background on what Moringa actually has in it. Dried leaves from the Moringa tree, ground up and put into capsules. No synthetic vitamins, no fillers, just concentrated plant leaves. It sounds pretty simple. Now this supplement also has the GMP symbol, and it's third-party lab tested, which, if you've watched some of my previous videos, that's a quality that I appreciate a lot in a supplement. The Moringa in these capsules is sourced from Himalayan farms and produced in the USA, so their quality control is actually on point. The main reason people take this is nutrient density. There aren't that many plants that give such a varied profile. Now the 3 main reasons relevant to me and my lifestyle is fiber, which helps with digestion, especially if you eat a high diet with processed carbs or if you just don't get enough vegetables. Iron, which helps with energy and oxygen transport, very important if you train regularly. And then you've got vitamins A, C and E, which help with recovery and reducing inflammation from training. It also has calcium and all 9 essential amino acids for overall health and muscle support. So just 2 capsules a day at 800 milligrams, not a full meal, but just enough to cover any gaps in your nutrition that you might have on days when maybe your nutrition isn't too great. So I'm going to get into what I noticed after taking these. Now I'll say this now. You're not going to feel fireworks from this. A green supplement just isn't going to do that. The benefits are more long-term. Over time, with consistency, you'll likely feel less tired, energy levels will improve, but there's something you're going to notice within the first couple of days, and that's fiber. This stuff makes you regular, and that's a good sign. I won't go into too much detail, but if you don't have enough fiber in your diet, you'll definitely see it quickly. Don't freak out. It won't make you fart non-stop, but you'll notice a difference. Taking these alone isn't everything, but when I started seeing the fiber effects or feeling less tired at certain times of the day, it definitely made me more conscious of what I might be missing from having maybe a more varied diet. So it actually did make me remember to buy more vegetables, and I did become more persistent with that, which is something I know I should be doing anyway, but it just brought it to the forefront of my mind. I think the problem I had in the past when I tried out that powdered version that I mentioned is that it was harder to take because drinking it didn't taste too good. So I had to kind of improvise and add things like fruits and ginger to try my best to hide the taste. But taking it in a capsule form in the morning with some water is of course a lot more easy, and you don't have to taste it. Now we have to discuss the negatives. Now for most healthy adults, this is fine and doesn't pose any real danger, but there are some rare risks that you have to be aware of, mainly connected to the dosage. The effects being so subtle can trick you into thinking that it's not doing anything for you, so some people take more, but taking too much can cause digestive upset and trouble sleeping. Now I'm not experiencing any of that, but it's worth mentioning that higher doses of this supplement can be bad for you, as with anything. Also, if you're on medication for diabetes, blood pressure or thyroid, Moringa can possibly interact with those medications, so do be careful. So let me give you my verdict. Would I recommend Moringa as a daily supplement? So if you're like me, you train regularly, you eat well, but vegetables are always an afterthought or you don't feel like you get enough of them, I would say yes, definitely worth trying Moringa. And I think when you exercise regularly, nutrients are of course very important because effectively you're breaking down your body in order for it to grow back stronger. Moringa is so nutrient dense and in this capsule form, it's been pretty easy to take. So it's been a good experience. If you're looking for a good way to cover any areas you might be lacking in from a whole food source that doesn't have any nasty questionable ingredients, yes, I'll definitely recommend trying out Moringa. And honestly, for the price, it's pretty good value compared to buying multiple individual supplements or those expensive greens powders. But if you already eat loads of vegetables in your daily diet, you might not even need this. But for me, I'm taking this every morning now along with my omega-3 and my vitamin D. Not because it's exciting and the changes are going to be dramatic, but because Moringa is probably one of the easiest ways to cover any nutritional gaps I might have without making too much effort. I will of course add a link to this supplement in the description for you to check out for yourself. So with that being said, thank you for watching, and as usual, I'll see you in the next one.